Hello everybody, it feels very surreal to be sat here making this video for you all to watch. I can't believe that the episode of my transplant journey has just aired, and I think it kind of cements it all for me that it actually happened, and here I am with new lungs, 8 months on. Life is just fantastic. Words fail me when I try to describe how much my life has changed and how much I've benefited from having the transplant. So really I just hope that everyone who's watched the Gift of Life series and my episode tonight takes away from it the importance of being an organ donor and what just a fantastic gift it is to give to people. Watching the episode was obviously very emotional for both myself and my family. A lot of the things in the episode, I didn't see until watching it. So the operation, obviously I was completely sedated for, so I have no memory of. So watching that was rather fascinating, and I was completely mesmerised by it, being able to see my own heart and my old lungs and then the donated lungs go in is just mind-boggling. Like, not many people can say that they've seen their own heart and lungs kind of thing. So that, I was really happy that I was able to see that. It was then really difficult to see Kirsty, my transplant coordinator, and my parents, and how they had to cope during the time that I was extremely poorly with the life-threatening infection. So I was sedated for the 2 weeks where my life was on the line, and I have no memory of it. I wasn't aware of anything that was going on, and so although my body was having to fight really hard and get me better emotionally, that wasn't draining for me because I wasn't aware, I was asleep. Whereas for my parents and my siblings, that was obviously just must have been just absolutely horrendous for them. I can't imagine the torture they went through watching, their daughter and sister almost slip between their fingers and, pass away. Like, that just doesn't even bear thinking about. I can't imagine having to witness that, of any of them. So they were just so brave, and the fact that they stayed by my bedside just all the time and held my hand and encouraged me and just constantly talking to me and keeping me positive, was just so important. And I don't think I'd be here without them. They kept that positivity going, even though I don't remember it. I think they definitely played a big influence in me getting better. And so for me, watching all of that back now, I find that really hard to watch. Obviously everyone gets upset when you see your parents upset. You never want to make your parents cry or see them cry, so that always sets me off. I just feel so lucky though that I got a happy ending, and that although my parents and loved ones had to go through everything they did and everything they witnessed, they can try and push that now to the back of their head and see me for how I am now, 8 months post-transplant, just absolutely full of life and energy and really living life to the full. As you will have noticed behind me, you may recognise a little bunny. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is Kimi, and it's a bit of a funny story with Kimi. So you may have noticed at the start of my episode, I had a little teddy bear, and he was a little polar bear, and he was called George. And he was my hospital teddy. I'd had him since as long as I can remember, and he's been at every hospital admission, he's been into every surgery I've ever had, and he's been what I've clung on to and squeezed for each blood test I've had. He's my little comfort, and he means the world to me. So he even went into the transplant operation with me. He was there for everything, but unfortunately, on the day that I got very poorly post-transplant and I had a soaring temperature, I was just drenched through, and so my sheets and my hospital gown was just constantly being changed. And I think amongst all that, little George got bundled up by accident and went down to the laundry, and he's never been seen since, much to my absolute it's just a tragedy. I'm just gutted. I miss him so much. And my dad went down to the laundry every day to see if George had turned up. He spoke to all the ladies down there. They were all on the lookout. All the hospital staff on the ward were on the lookout. It was a bit of a mission trying to find George. But unfortunately it's been a failed mission. And a few days before I got really poorly, Dad had actually been to the shop and bought Kimi here. And she was supposed to be for my other hand, so I had Kimi in one hand and George in the other. Unfortunately that never happened, but when George went missing, Kimi came to the rescue, and she was then with me for the rest of my journey and continues along it with me. So she's been my my new hospital teddy, I guess. I'd like to finish my video by saying a huge, just heartfelt thank you to the Newcastle Freeman's Institute of Transplant, to my donor and their family for making the heroic and selfless decision to donate their organs to people in need like myself, because I wouldn't be here without them. A thank you to my family and my friends for all their support before, during and now after my transplant. To all you guys at Channel 5, you're just fantastic, and doing a series like this to raise awareness is just, I couldn't have asked for anything more. It's just a cause so close to my heart, transplants, so to raise awareness is so important to me. And also the film crew at Northern Film for being not just my film crew but my close friends, both during and now after my transplant. And finally, just a huge, massive thank you to everyone who tonight sat and watched The Gift of Life, because you ultimately are the people that are going to make the difference, and you're the people that we want to sign up to be organ donors and spread the word and raise even more awareness, so more people's lives can be saved, just like mine has, and there can be more happy endings. So yeah, thank you, and a big goodbye from me, Holly, and little Kimi!